Welcome again to you all. Thank you so much for your continued patience and staying connected and doing our yoga together. We really appreciate it. So as usual, make your adjustments and modifications as needed. We're actually going to start with a little bit of a heart opener. So we were doing this last month, but this is going to be a little bit different version. It's going to be more of a gentle supported fish pose. Unless you have two yoga blocks and you want to do the more dramatic version of supported fish pose, what you would do is take one of your yoga blocks on its medium setting lengthwise towards the top of your mat. I don't have two blocks, I just have one, but I have this cushion. You would take the second block or another support for the head. And then when you lie back on that, the block will hit you right between the shoulder blades and the head will land on the pillow. So it'll be an extra big lift here for the upper back. And this allows the shoulders and the arms to hang open. I'll go over some positions in the legs. And again, I forgot my towel. I cleaned everything up yesterday, so I moved all my stuff around. If you want a more gentle version, we'll take a bath towel, which I have right here, or a blanket. And you'll take the towel, we want to get it into a rectangular fold. So I'm taking my towel, folding it in half, and I'm going to fold it in half again, unfold it in half again. So I basically have this longer rectangular shape that I will put towards the top of my mat. And that will just be a much lighter lift between the shoulder blades again and for the head. If I wanted a little bit more, I could take that rectangle, fold it in half like so it lifts me up a little bit higher. Now the head might fall back a little bit here, but if that's too much for your neck, give your head some support. And then what we should feel is the opening across the chest, the shoulders relaxing down. If you're up on props or in a higher position, you'll just want to let your arms fall down beside the body as if you were in Shavasana. If you're in more of the gentle support, like I'm going to be in, we can cactus our arms, bending our elbows to 90 degrees and allowing the backs of the hands to drop to the floor. Now, as far as the legs are concerned, once we get into our position, for tightness in the low back or any low back issues, just bend your knees up, let the knees fall together, your feet are a little bit wider. If you want to go right into that hip work, taking Baddha Konasana, with the support of the pillow can feel quite nice. So sliding the pillow underneath the thighs, bringing the soles of the feet to touch with the knees falling open, or simply stretch those legs out over your support or to the floor. The feet are nice and wide and flopping open. And we'll start our practice here, getting that chest opening and just allowing our body to relax and settle in for our practice. So give us all a moment to get comfortable, loosen up your clothing, adjust your surroundings. Remember, if you have ponytails, we need to move them so they don't twist or turn the head. And let's find the very back center of the skull. Give the head a little rock side to side. Close the eyes so we can turn our attention inward. Poof the cheeks with air, wiggle out the mouth, tongue, and jaw, relaxing the area around the lower jaw, the tongue, and the throat. Allow the weight of those shoulders to just sink into the ground, the elbows and the hands. And enjoying this nice stretch through the front of the chest, a nice pose to help improve our posture, to help counter that rounding of the upper back and our forward head falling from looking at our little screens. But simultaneously let your low back relax into the ground. Start to soften up around those hips, the hip sockets, and just allow the weight of the legs to flop into the ground. And continue to let the whole body relax, letting go of any unnecessary tension or tightness we might find. Mentally move through the body, scanning from the top of the head down to the fingertips and toes. If we come across any areas in our body today that might feel a little tender, that we might be taking care of, let's pause on those areas. Send a healing breath into them. And allow them to relax. Remembering that we practice with a quality of santosha or contentment. So being content wherever we are in this moment. And we'll continue to let the body absorb this pose as we continue to spread our awareness to the breath. Just watch the body breathe. Notice the quality of our breath this morning. The sensations and feelings of the inhalation and the exhalation. We're breathing as smoothly and evenly as possible in and out through the nose. You might feel this inhalation a little bit more if we're elevated, so we'll feel the stretch through the rib cage, around the chest. But we can also still feel this around the abdomen as well. So the rise and fall of the belly with the breath. Our inhales, the body naturally expands as it fills itself up with fresh air, prana, and energy this morning. And our exhale is just as important as the body lets go of stale old air and energy, cleaning everything out, gentle contraction of the body. And let's all move through one more nice cycle of breath here, allowing this breath to be our biggest breath of our morning yet. So on our next inhale, really just sip in as much air as you possibly can, filling the whole body up to the brim. And our biggest exhale of our morning yet, taking the time to exhale, exhale, exhale every last drop. Really try to empty the body and empty the lungs completely. And inhale, breathing, start to come back to the physical body, noticing the weight of the body and the relaxed body on the ground. And slowly we'll wake the body back up, the toes, the fingertips. Depending where your head is in space, you might be able to rock your head side to side again. If our knees are open in Baddha Konasana, let's float those knees up and stretch the legs out for a moment. Point flex the feet. And because some of us might be a little bit higher up on our props, I'm going to have us bend our knees up and pull them in towards our body. We'll roll to one side, safely coming off of those props. And then we'll only come up just enough to slide our props out of the way. So organize yourself in your space, moving the props back off the mat unless you're using them to support your head or any other reason. And we're gonna lie back down on the floor. If you happen to have a yoga block close by or a prop similar to that size, have it handy. So we'll lie right back down onto our back. We'll have to realign and readjust everything. Walk those feet in towards your sit bones. The feet are parallel to each other, toes pointing forward, knees pointing straight up towards the ceiling, towards the toes. Take that block if you have it and place it between your inner thighs to help with your alignment and that action of the inner thigh work. Bring your shoulders underneath the body and bring your arms down beside you firmly. So flowing bridge pose will start to strengthen the back body and stretch the front. So squeeze your glutes in the back. Pressing down through the arms and the feet as you inhale, lifting up. And then on our exhale, lowering back down. So if we're breathing evenly, the amount of time that we're taking to inhale and lift up should be equal in the amount of time that we take to lower back down. Really feel that contraction in the back side of the body. We'll start to feel the stretch to the front of the hips. The chest might start to elevate and move towards the chin. That's fine. Keep your neck naturally curving up from the floor and avoid tucking the chin down towards the chest. If we want that shoulder work here, the inhale as you squeeze to lift, the arms will float up to the ceiling and overhead, all the way moving into the meaty part of the shoulders, not the neck. And the exhale, again, we take our time to roll back down and the arms float back down. Flowing Setu Bandhasan, allowing our breath to be our guide. As those muscles strengthen and lengthen, maybe we go a little further up. Maybe we choose to back off a little bit. Let's do 2 more, whatever variation we're choosing to do. And we'll meet on our exhale when we get there, coming back down to the ground. Take the prop out of the way. Draw the knees in towards the body, and let's rock gently side to side across our low back. Extend those legs straight up towards the ceiling. Hold behind the thighs to warm those hamstrings. Massage and rub up and down the backs of those thighs. Point and flex the feet a couple times. So doing a gentle inversion right away to get our circulation flowing through our body and to redirect our energy down into our body and onto our mat. Take a hold of the outer thighs, open those legs up, Supta Konasana, roll your ankles a few times. To deepen the stretch, move your hands to the inside, massage there, getting those muscles to open up right away. This is our first movement of the day like it is for me. I'm definitely feeling tightness in that area, but we'll just allow gravity to help stretch us out. Deep breath in. The exhale, pull those legs back up. Hug the knees in, drawing the nose up towards the knees to give the upper back a stretch. So let's do a little bit of core work this morning while we're here, and then we'll do our transition. So from here, we'll extend the legs back up towards the ceiling. Point through the toes of the feet. Our arms are going to come back down beside us. So we're holding our legs up with the strength of those abdominal muscles and the hip flexors. So pull in through that low belly. If you want, slide your hands underneath the lower buttock so that that makes a little well for your low back. So the low back needs to stay grounded. We want our spine in neutral. Don't let that low back hyperextend away from the mat. Single leg lifts or yogi sit-ups on our inhale. Lower your right straight leg down away from you. Whatever degree that you can maintain the spinal alignment. As you exhale, slowly pull it back up. Inhale, lowers the left leg, ideally to the same degree you just did on your first side. And slowly pull the leg up. So we want to avoid swinging the legs. We really want to hug the muscles to the bone and use the strength of our body to move the legs. Keep going with your breath. Modification, bend your knees to 90, keeping that angle. And you move from the hip, touching one toe down and pulling it up, and then touching the other toe down. If you're doing your straight leg versions, just try to draw a nice straight line up and down. You might be able to progress to where you're just hovering above the ground. The other trick is to not use the throat, so relax the face and the jaw. Let's do 2 more, so 1 more to each side. After you finish that left side, we'll take a quick break. So just drop your knees in, rock it out, relax the belly for a moment. We'll do 1 more round of yogi sit-ups. I'll give us an additional challenge if we like. So again, we'll bend the legs up towards the ceiling, pointing to the toes. You can do another round of your single leg lifts, or we'll do double yogi sit-ups. So you glue the legs together. You might not go as far. Remember, don't hyperextend the low back. As you inhale, both legs lower together as one unit. And then really slowly pull them back up, drawing that low belly in. So if you start to feel a little fire in the belly, that's a good thing. That's what we want. Face stays relaxed, using those lower abdominals, iliopsoas muscles here. So working with the lower half of the body does work those deeper abdominal muscles. So this is really beneficial to strengthen and tone to eventually help support the back. but we don't want to overdo it on the back right away. So we'll do 2 more, 1 more to each side or 2 more doubles. And after your last one, again, take a quick break, hug those knees out, rock it side to side. And then let's open the knees wide, just one more pose here before we transition Supta Baddha Konasana. Try to reach between your legs for your feet. Let the elbows draw your thigh bones away from you, bringing the soles of the feet to touch, and gently drawing your heels to the pubic bone. So reclining bound angle pose here. Shoulders are relaxed. Holding onto those feet or toes, move it to happy baby pose, soles of the feet face the ceiling. Again, a little motion side to side. Let your knees drop wide outside the armpits. Big hip stretch right away. Big breath in. On the exhale, squeeze it back together. Bring your right arm beside the head. Let's roll and pause on our right side for a moment, just to regulate our blood pressure and to transition here. And then pressing down into the ground, we'll bring our body up and come into our first seated pose. So we will take our seated pose just for a couple of our spinal movements. I would highly recommend sitting up on something. You're always welcome to sit up on a chair to take the legs out of the equation. Most important thing is that our spine stays in its neutral position, nice and long and tall. If our knees are being pulled up and we're rounding through our spine, we need to sit up taller. Find your sit bones, sitting cross-legged or whatever position works best in your legs. Make your adjustments here, ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips. And then we'll just extend our arms out beside us, turning the palms up. Take another nice deep breath in as we reach both arms up towards the ceiling. Turn the palms out and exhale, float the fingertips back to the floor. Our seated triangle pose. Inhale the right arm up. Keep both sit bones rooted, low belly pulled in as you lean over to your left, stretching out the side. Inhale pulls us up. Exhale, switch to your other side, stretching out the waist, the rib cage, and the shoulder. 1 more to each side. Inhale to pull yourself up. Exhale, now you can look down, forward, or up towards the ceiling. Exhale 1 more time to your right. And then we'll meet back in neutral, reaching both arms straight up towards the ceiling after we've balanced ourselves out. Bring those palms to touch and exhale, hands to heart. So let's switch up the cross of our legs. Those of us sitting cross-legged, opposite foot in front, because we tend to always want to sit the same way. And then let's do an active twist today, and this will work those abdominal muscles a little bit more. So think about active twisting as you just want to be really cautious about rounding the spine. So keep your spine tall. So from hands to heart, inhale, reaching back up to the ceiling. This exhale will rotate to our right. Let your arms float parallel to the floor or down towards the opposite knee and ground. The head and the eyeballs can follow. The inhale is going to pull us back up. So again, use your muscles. Exhale, rotate and twist. So you're rotating over the long axis of the spine, peek behind you. Squeeze the muscles. Inhale, reach up. Again, 1 more time to our right. Bring everything out. Use your muscles to go a little bit more deeply through the shoulders, the head, and neck. If it feels good, inhale up. And 1 more time to our left. Bring everything out. Twist, twist, and twist. Inhale, bring it back up to center. Palms touch. Exhale to heart. So we'll make another transition now to our tabletop, however you want to get there, whether you're crawling forward on your mat or you need to reposition yourself. Taking extra cushion underneath those knees and shins if you like. Fingers are going to spread as wide as possible. Hands are as broad as your shoulders. Stack your joints, shoulders over wrists, and hips over knees. A few inches between the knees and those feet pressing into the ground. Be mindful of where your head is in space. It likes to fall, so just keep your drishti slightly forward. Do pull in through that low belly to support the back. Keeping our hips level, we'll stretch that right foot back behind us, pressing the heel towards the floor. If we want to add that little bit of core element, we'll take our runner's plank. So I'll press into the ground and try to pull my left knee and foot from the floor without lifting my hips up. So I'm stretching out the back of my right leg and strengthening, pulling the left leg up. Deep breath in. Exhale, tabletop. Hips stay level. Let's stretch the left foot back behind us, pressing the heel towards the floor, just stretching out the back of the leg. Staying there or squeezing to pull the right knee and foot from the floor without lifting the hips up, so we're still in that plank position. Pressing into the ground equally through both hands. Deep breath in. Exhale, tabletop. Remembering our options for our wrists, fingertips, rounding through the knuckles, or fists for wrists when your wrists want to take a break. We'll flow through a couple rounds of our cat-cow with the breath. Inhaling to our gentle back bend. We lift and lengthen from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Our exhale draws the belly in, scoops the tail under, and we round the back up to the ceiling, looking towards the belly button. And then again, your breath is your guide, moving in and out of our gentle back bend, extension and flexion. Any other little organic movements here that feel good for the body? And then let's come back to neutral position. Walk your hands about one hand's distance forward. Let's do some of those hip rolls again today to get our hips to loosen up. So as we exhale, draw your hips back towards the heels. Sweep them over to the left. Then bring them forward so your shoulders re-stack over your wrist, almost like a kneeling plank. Over to the right and back. So just drawing a circle around clockwise. This can stay little, or you can start to do more kind of diving movements through the shoulders and the head and neck. One more this direction. Once your hips come back towards your heels, let's reverse directions. So we'll bring the hips back, over to the right, inhale forward and to the left. Counterclockwise or your opposite direction. And again, you can get a little bit more swimming-like, I don't know what the adjective is there. Diving around in the shoulders just kind of feels good to roll through the joints in the body to loosen things up. One more this direction. Next time those hips come back towards the heels, we'll sit all the way back to child's pose. So if you want to open your knees wider to get a little bit deeper into it, go ahead and do so. Slide your hips to your heels. You can keep your fingertips stretching forward in a more active child's pose with the elbows floating from the floor. If the head doesn't easily touch, use your arms or a prop under the forehead. Or if you just want a more passive approach, bring your arms down beside you. And just allow the upper body to melt towards the ground. Nice stretch for the hips and the low back. And give our hands a quick break because we are going to do a little bit more work on our hands. One more breath in our child's pose. On the inhale, re-extend the hands forward, spread the fingertips wide, float the body back up to your tabletop. So we'll need to reposition the knees and the feet. This time I want us to tuck our toes under. Again, walk your hands about one hand's distance forward. We'll do a little bit of our low flow that we do sometimes in class, and this will help strengthen our upper body and that core. So on the inhale, we'll move forward to kneeling plank, restacking the shoulders over the wrists without collapsing the spine. So I'm still scooping the tailbone under, keeping my head in line with the spine. On the exhale, I'm going to draw back into a bow. So the head might not necessarily touch the ground, but it gives your wrists a quick break. If you want to Hatha bond to the hands that come up on your fingertips when you bow, you can do that. And then inhale, you'll have to replant the hands and rock forward to your kneeling plank. Exhale, take a bow. So we're going to build on that. Inhale, kneeling plank. Our baby chaturanga. So again, low belly stays in. Exhale, bend your elbows. Upper arm bone should graze the rib cage. Inhale, straighten the arms. Exhale, bow it back. We'll do 2 more like that. Inhaling, kneeling plank. If anybody wants to do these from full plank and a full chaturanga, be my guest. I'm going to take a pass on that this morning. I'm feeling a little sore from all my yard work still. 1 more. Nice strong body. Keep your head in line with your spine. Now the next time we come forward, this is the one we'll go as slow as possible. So really important to draw that low belly in. I'm actually trying to hover my body parallel to the floor here. You'll feel that in the upper arms. Oh yeah. And then we'll come down to our belly. So if you need to arrange yourself in your space, do so. Keep your hands tucked under your shoulders. The chin is forward to the mat. Flatten out the tops of the feet. Keep your feet nice and wide if you take care of your low back. Or zip the toes and heels together in a tail of a snake. Squeeze the shoulder blades onto your back. On our inhale, float the chest up into Bhujangasana, and we're gonna hold and breathe. So now I'm toning and strengthening the whole back of my body. So my glutes are helping. Keep the crown of the head extended forward, nice strong legs. Those of us that want more, lift your hands up. I'm still squeezing my shoulder blades together. We can also locust our arms beside us, palms facing down, reaching those fingertips towards the heels. Ardha Shalabhasana, half locust. Lift your right leg straight up from the hip, giving that glute a squeeze. Exhale it down. Squeeze to lift the left leg up. Exhale. Repeat single leg or Purna Shalabhasana, full locust. The inhale lifts everything up. Eventually just resting on those front of the pelvis, pubic bone, and low belly. Squeeze the whole back. Give me 1 more big breath. And then on the exhale, we'll take a break. So prone Shavasana, turning the head to one side. Let your arms flop to the floor, palms up. Let your heels fall open. Relax the whole body. Take a nice big belly breath. And just notice the effects of those poses on the breath and the body. They're energizing postures, so you might feel your heart rate go up a little bit. If the head is turned, let's turn it the other direction for 1 breath. And then chin forward, hands underneath the shoulders, tuck your toes, tuck the tail, pull that low belly in, and inhale. Try to press back up through kneeling plank or full plank. At this time, you may draw your hips up, back, and down into Adho Mukha Svanasana, down dog, or take a couple rounds of your cat and cow. We want to stretch out the back for a moment. If you're upside down and downward facing dog, pedal your heels, 1 heel at a time. Stretching out the backs of those legs. And then let's pause and hold for a breath, sending the heels towards the ground. Bend the knees deeply if you have tension in your low back. Keep the neck long and the head floating. Inhale, looks forward, walking our feet to our hands or hands to our feet. Uttanasana, forward fold. You're welcome to be in the full version, folding the body in half. Just keep your feet and legs nice and strong and that low belly engaged. If we'd like to modify our forward fold, bend your knees and place your elbows and hands on tops of those thighs to take some pressure out of that low back. If you want to ragdoll, grab opposite elbows and sway the shoulders, head, and neck. We're still in an inversion, so just be mindful of blood pressure conditions, heart conditions. And then let's do our halfway lifts today. Again, just like we did in Cobra Pose, really beneficial postures for spinal health and for our posture. So on our inhale, you'll bring your hands to your shins or even higher. Lift your chest, squeeze through the upper back, try to flatten out the back. Good, beautiful. Exhale, fold. Again, inhale, halfway lift. Nice, strong spine. If you want more, locust your arms beside you, palms facing in. Exhale, fold, good job. And 1 more. Inhale, halfway lift, squeeze it up. And then on this exhale, we're gonna sit back into Utkatasana. So you'll drop your hips back, reaching your arms forward and up. So make sure you're shrugging your shoulders from your ears, that your feet are parallel. You're still rounding in through that low belly, sinking the tailbone to the floor. If you're holding tension in your neck and shoulders today, just bring your hands to your heart. And like we normally do in my class, we'll go right into a little bit of balance to get our brain working here. So without too much leaning, just try to squeeze your muscles and lift your right foot from the floor. Bring that foot down. Try to lift your left foot from the floor, balancing on one leg. We'll bring that foot to the ground, sink a little further down. And then on the inhale, straighten the body all the way up to extended mountain, reaching and lengthening, gazing upwards for a gentle back bend. Turn the palms out. Exhale the arms down into Tadasana. Holding for a moment, feeling our standing posture. So the face is nice and relaxed. Our head is just floating on our shoulders, but we have a lot of strength and power through our feet and our legs and through those lower abdominal muscles. Take a nice deep breath in. And on the exhale, relax. So we're gonna gather up some props and go through some of those bigger standing poses we've been doing. Let's see what time. I think we got enough time to do all of them. We'll see. We'll start with Prasarita Padottanasana, so wide standing straddle pose. I've been using a chair for my support. So you might also need to rearrange yourself on your mat. So if you need to face the long edge of your mat, place blocks or books in front of you. A chair if you want a little bit more support. And then once your props are in place, we'll open up to our neutral position. So feet are nice and wide. Extend out through the arms. Your toes are pointing straight forward, so the feet are parallel to each other. And then we'll bring our hands right onto that top rim of your hips, finding our pelvic bowl. Turn the toes slightly in to internally rotate the thigh bones to encourage this anterior tilt in the pelvis. So remember, I'm still connected to my lower abdominals. I'm not hyperextending and thrusting through the chest, but I am leading with the chest instead of rounding down into this pose. So I'm literally taking my pelvis and trying to pour it forward. So pull up through the front of your quads. Pick up your toes. Feel the strength through the legs. Come halfway. Inhale. Exhale. Maybe go a little further. And we'll hold for several breaths. So the body has an opportunity to absorb this pose. The muscles have an opportunity to lengthen. Now, if you're coming a little further down to the ground and you're bringing your fingertips to the floor or to a prop, remember, don't transfer all your weight into the hands. Keep your structure in the body. We can continue to contract our abdominal muscles, bringing our belly closer to our thighs. Some of you might walk your hands between the feet, fingertips in line with those toes. The drishti can stay right underneath the tip of the nose, or we can drop the head and look between the legs. So it'll turn into another inversion for some of us. Let's all take one more breath. At our next inhale, halfway lift. So we need to bring ourselves up out of the pose a little bit. That will help realign the body and regulate our blood pressure. So float the head up, find your fingertips. Strong legs. As you exhale, bring one hand at a time back to those hips. And then as you inhale, you're lifting up through the crown of the head. Inhale even more and reach your arms up overhead. Bring the palms to touch. Exhale, hands to heart. So we'll go right into Trikonasana from here. However, if you need to adjust your props and move them to the front and back of your mat, if you're using them, you can. Point your toes to face back forward so the feet are parallel to each other. Re-extend the arms out from the shoulders. We'll start with our right side, so we'll pick the right toes up, pivot on the heel, opening that hip and thigh towards the right. So the knee should be pointing to the right toes as well. The heart and the chest stay open. There's a pelvic tilt here, but I continue to lengthen both side bodies, inhaling, extending to the right, and then on my exhale, windmilling the arms. Now, unsupported triangle pose, I keep my lower hand in front of that right knee or inner thigh. Avoid collapsing the knees backwards. You want to soften the knees. They're straight, but they're strong. Again, if you're bringing your hand down to a prop, try to just have your fingertips resting so you don't transfer your weight into the arm. You stay connected to your core. Breathing in this pose, several more breaths here, rolling the heart open, feeling like we're leaning against an invisible wall, maybe taking that drishti up towards the top thumb. Both legs equally strong. Root through the mound of the big toe inner heel, mound of the pinky toe outer heel. Keep the neck as an extension of the spine, nice and long. One more breath. Now the inhale is what pulls us back up out of this pose. So if you're further into it, really engage through the core and inhale, pull yourself up. Turn those right toes straight forward, neutral position. If you need to move props around, move your props. And then we'll pick up the left toes, turn them to the other end of the mat, opening that thigh, contracting outer knee to outer hip. Legs are straight but strong, heart stays open. Tilt in the pelvis, so you're drawing in through that left hip crease. We'll start to feel the stretch in the inner back thigh. Inhale, extend. Exhale, windmill. Unsupported, you can use that leg as a little bit of a lever, pressing your hand into it to help roll the heart open. If you're using your prop, again, keep your structure nice and strong. And then feeling like we're rotating, rolling that heart open, drawing that right shoulder back. Neck stays long. Maybe the drishti looks up to that top hand. Equal weight in both feet. One more breath. Our next inhale, fire up those legs, use your core. Inhale to pull yourself up. Turn the toes forward. Exhale, relax those arms. Roll your shoulders, noodle them around a little bit. And then we'll heel toe, step, step, step our feet together. So from here, let's put our props away and out of the way. We'll do a different stretch for our hamstrings. Well, let's do one more balance pose before we do that, as I'm talking out loud to myself. So we're coming to tree pose here, Vrikshasana. So find your safe space. Draw the insides of the feet and legs to touch. Stand nice and tall in Tadasana. Inhale, turn your palms out, reach it up. Exhale, hands to heart. Focus your gaze. Float the right heel at the hip, open the knee. Your choice, standing position, toes down. Sole of the foot to the inner ankle or calf, or placing your foot above your standing knee. Lift the heart into the hands, relax the shoulders away from the ears. You might practice a little bit of your blind balancing today, blinking the eyes. If you want to add a little heart opener here today, bring your arms down and around behind you, trying to interweave all 10 fingers, opening up the chest. So a chest expansion in tree pose. One more breath. If we have the hands behind us, release your grip. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, hands to heart. Point the knee forward. Lift the thigh up. Without leaning back, try to extend the foot forward for 3, 2, 1. Samastitihi, standing stillness pose, lower the foot. Try not to move, making any unnecessary movements. Keep your focus. Inhale, recenter by reaching the arms up. Exhale, back to the center. Left heel up, hip opens the knee up. Try to go into the same position on this side as you did your first side. Shrug the shoulders from the ears, relax the face. Maybe blink the eyes a couple times. Play with some of that blind balancing. Challenge yourself. You might fall out of the pose, that's okay. Adding a heart opener, relax the arms down, around, and weave all 10 fingers behind the body, extending the knuckles down, crown of the head still lengthening upwards. One more breath. The hands are behind. The inhale, release your grip, reach up. Exhale to heart. Point the knee forward. Lift the thigh up without leaning back. Use those strong abdominals. Extend the foot forward. 3, 2, 1. Samastitihi, standing stillness. Pause. And then relax. So we'll transition through downward facing dog and go into our big hip stretch, Kapotanasana, or pigeon pose. Let me show you your alternative, because prone pigeon isn't for everybody. So if you're not going to come down on your knees, you'll lie on your back. You'll actively flex your right foot, crossing the right ankle on top of the left thigh, encouraging the right knee away from you. From there, draw your left leg up for a more intense stretch, wrapping your hands behind the left thigh. The foot can extend up, or reaching across the shin bone. And you'll change sides when we change sides. You just don't want to feel any tension around the knee. Those of us that want to transition into full pigeon will go through a little, not vinyasa, but a little bit of movement here. So we'll come back towards the front of our mat in Tadasana, standing nice and tall. The inhale will reach those arms wide and overhead. Exhale, micro bend the knees, hinge from those hips. Uttanasana, forward fold. Whatever version you're taking today. Inhale, halfway lift. This exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands, take a big step back, downward facing dog. Transitioning to pigeon from down dog, inhale the right leg up behind you. Exhale, pull the right knee forward. We angle the right knee out behind the right wrist, so the thighs more up 15, 20 degrees. The right foot can be active. Bringing that left leg slightly behind you. You can tuck your toes under and inch the left knee back. Take extra support under the right thigh if needed. And then you can relax the back leg down to the ground. You're trying to sink the hips and low back equally towards the ground. Now, some of you might be able to move your right shin bone more forward, parallel to the front edge of your mat. If you have that ability to do so, you can go deeper. Again, we should not feel this at all in the knee. I'm trying to stretch into those deep hip rotators and the piriformis. As those muscles relax, you might be able to go a little further into it. You're welcome to have props in front of you to help support the body. As you come down, slide some pillows or yoga blocks underneath there. And we'll hold this pose for several breaths as well. This is a pose we can hold a little bit longer so that we can move tension out of the body. Move the cheeks with air, wiggle out the face, or open the mouth and let out a nice sighing breath if you notice that the tension starts to move towards the jaw. Let's all take one more deep breath. Really use that exhale to exhale away any leftover tension or tightness. And we'll take our time to transition. So those of you on your back, you'll re-extend the leg up towards the ceiling. If we're in prone pigeon, use your hands and your elbows. Tuck your back toes under. We need to inch that leg slightly forward so that we can bring the weight back in our hands. It's important that you float up off your right knee before you try to move that leg out so we don't twist that knee. And then you're welcome to stir the pot or walk your dog, whatever you need to do to get the blood flowing back through those legs. So other side, inhale, left leg up. Exhale, pull the knee forward and out behind the left wrist at an angle. Left foot is active. If you see me, you'll see how close my foot is towards my right hip bone. I do not have any ability to bring my shin bone forward more, but if you do, you're welcome to do so. Try to inch your right knee back a little further so that both hips are sinking towards the ground equally. Place that support under the left hip if you want it. And then, again, our breath is our guide. If it allows us to exhale and move a little bit more forward into the pose, we can. If you happen to be on your back, just play with those variations, holding the back of the thigh or the shin bone. And again, we'll hold this pose for several moments here, taking some nice deep breaths. One more breath. Last chance to breathe it all away. Let it go. Good inhale, we'll float the head up. Again, take your time to come out, elbows and hands. If you're on your back, you're welcome to stay there. Rock yourself out, massage the back. Those of us forward, back toes tucked under, inch forward, press into the ground and come off of that leg. And then stretch it out, walk it out, whatever feels best to get the blood through. And then on our next inhale, let's come into our plank pose. We haven't done these in a few classes. You're welcome to be in kneeling plank or forearm plank. And we'll just hold for 2 deep breaths. So just an easy, quick 20-second plank. About 10 seconds for each breath. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. One more breath. Inhale, float those hips up. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, heels up as high as you can go. Stretch out those feet. Exhale, drop to the knees, child's pose. Sitting back, maybe sliding those hands back, bowing the head towards the ground. Just pausing for a moment. And then we'll tuck the chin, round it up vertebra by vertebra. Transition to either hip and bring the feet forward. So let's come into one seated pose here before we come back down onto our backs. We'll come into Baddha Konasana. So again, you might want to sit up on a little bit of a prop just to use that as a wedge to help keep your sit bones elevated and your pelvis moving forward. Poles of the feet touch, knees fall open. Press your hands down beside your hips. Try to float your hips up. Tip your pelvis forward so that you're on the front of your sit bones, and this will help get that angle in those hips. Sit up nice and tall, holding on to the feet. If you have the space, as you exhale, you hinge at the hips to come forward. There's no rounding of the back though. Spine stays a nice long angle. So some of you will have space to continue now to walk your hands forward, bringing the belly, the heart, and the head to props or the ground. Others of us will be in a more upright position. One more breath. Okay, inhale, we'll start to come out of the pose. So if you've walked down into it, use your hands. We'll all restack the spine, sitting up nice and tall. Take your knees, float them up. Step your feet wider than your hips. Bring your hands behind you and just gently rock the knees side to side to loosen up the hips. So now it's time to come onto our back. Safest way is to turn to one side and walk yourself down and then roll back onto your back. If you want to get that core element in, have space behind you, soles of the feet to the ground, your knees are open wide. Now I am going to round through my spine here, so this is articulation, so I'm scooping out my belly, reaching my fingertips forward. I'm trying to roll down my back, the whole length. So the sacrum, the lower part of the back, the lumbar, the mid-thoracic back, the shoulder blades, the back of the head. Once all that touches down, reach the arms overhead, straighten the legs out, spread the fingers and toes, stretching and opening the whole front of the body here. And then exhale, float those arms down, walk those feet in. Draw the belly in to hug the knees in. So we'll do another hamstring stretch here with a little bit of core stability work. So we'll re-extend the legs up towards the ceiling. You can hold behind your thighs to start, point and flex the feet in waterfall pose. You might notice that you have a little bit more length back there now that we stretch things out a little bit more. So from here, hold on to your right thigh. You can point through the feet. Lower your left leg away from you. Now, if you want more of the strengthening, you will try to hold and hover the leg a couple inches from the floor. If you just want more of the stretching, let the left leg come all the way down to the ground. And then we're going to take our right thigh bone and push it forward into our hands. If you want more stretching, flex your feet so the heels are pressing up. So I'm trying to straighten my right leg out, pressing the thigh bone forward. If you're in your hover, you're pulling in through that low belly. Now, if we want a little bit more, we'll walk our hands up to our calf muscle and try to float the head up as if we were drawing the nose towards the knee. And again, you can be in more of a scissor hold here or grounding the left leg down. We're still continuing to try to straighten through that right leg, grounding that low belly in. Take a nice deep breath in. Now on the exhale, lower the head down. With control, bring left leg and lower your right leg all the way back down to the ground. If that's a little bit much on the back, just bend the knee and drop the foot to the floor first. Once your right leg touches down, inhale, re-extend the arms overhead. The back can gently arch here. Give it a little stretch. Exhale, float the arms down. Walk the feet in. Hug the knees in. Extend both legs up to the ceiling. Waterfall pose. Take a hold of the left thigh. Point through the feet. Right leg lowers down. Ideally, doing the same on this side as you did your first side. If it's not an option, then just make a mental note of that. Your shoulders should be underneath the back, nice and relaxed, the head down. And now as we're holding on to the meaty part of our left thigh, take your left thigh bone and press it forward into your hands, trying to really stretch out the left leg. And at that point, you can flex the left foot, pushing the left heel up towards the ceiling. To deepen the stretch, hands move up to the calf muscle, head floats up. As if I'm trying to draw my nose up towards my knee. And I'm still breathing. Take another deep breath in. The exhale will relax the head down. Use your muscles to lower the right leg, and then slowly the left leg all the way down to the ground. When it touches down, inhale, both arms overhead. Take a moment to stretch everything out, gently arch that low back. And then walk your feet in, hug those knees in. Glue the knees together, feet parallel to each other. Reach your arms up from your shoulders, palms down, spinal twist. Exhale, lower your knees to the right. Place a prop underneath them if they don't easily touch the ground. Right hand on the top thigh for a deeper twist. Sink your left shoulder back down, look to the left, close the eyes, and just breathe. The next inhale will bring the head and the knees back up to neutral. If you need to readjust the body, go ahead and do so. Then glue the knees, feet parallel. Exhale, drop the knees to the left. Use your props. Left hand to top thigh for a deeper twist. Sink the right shoulder back down. Close the eyes, relax, and breathe. Our inhale will bring the head and the knees back to neutral. Realign. Exhale, reach those arms over those shin bones. Nose to knees. Give the body a great big hug, filling ourselves up with gratitude, appreciation. Breathe it in. And on our next exhale, we get to let it go. So if you're comfortable here, you can stay there, drawing your shoulders under. Allow your arm bones to roll open beside you, palms up. Keep your knees bent up and drop them together if you take care of your low back. Or soles of the feet touch, knees open again, back in Baddha Konasana. Use a pillow underneath your thighs for more support. Or slide those legs all the way out in Shavasana. If you have support from underneath the head and your eye covering, gather up all those things now. I'll give us all a moment. Remembering that we want to put just as much effort into going into this pose as we did every other pose we practiced. So putting some intelligent design in how we're placing our body on the ground here, trying to find symmetry from our right side to left and left to right. Find the very back center of the skull. Again, poof the cheeks up with air, wiggle out the mouth, relaxing the tongue, the lower jaw, and the throat. And then relax all those little muscles across the face, the forehead, the brow, and the eyebrow center. Feel the weight of the arms sink into the ground, relaxing the shoulders, the elbows, the backs of the hands. Let the fingertips curl up naturally. Relax the front of the body across the heart and the chest. Relax the abdomen, all of the internal organs. Noticing a gentle rise and fall of the belly with the breath. Relax down the back of the body, vertebra by vertebra. The space between the shoulder blades, down into the low back. Relax the larger muscles of the glutes, the hips and hip sockets, the tops and backs of the thighs. Allow the weight of the legs to flop into the ground. Relaxing from the hips to the knees, knees to the ankles. Relax the feet, all of the toes, the soles of the feet. Relax the whole body. Soften and relax the inside of the body. The breath is gentle and calm. If the mind wanders, bring it back to the peaceful breath, giving ourselves just one more moment to let go, relax, and sink into Shavasana. Slowly coming back to our breath. Breathing life back into our body as we wake up the toes, the fingertips. Gentle rock of the head side to side, rolling the ankles and the wrists. The next inhale, we can come back to our long body stretch, reaching our arms overhead, stretching the legs out, spreading those fingers and toes, creating space all the way up the front and back of the body, side to side. Take another deep breath in. Exhale, float the arms down, walk the feet in. Drawing those knees into the body, massage the back side to side. Right arm falls beside the head, rolling and pausing on our right side in Supta Balasana, sleeping baby pose. And then take the left hand to the floor, keeping the eyes closed or soft. Press into the ground to bring the body back up. We'll revisit any comfortable seated pose and just take a couple more nice breaths together today. So sitting up on our sit bones and nice and tall through the crown of the head. Be mindful of the space around us. Re-extend those arms out to the sides, palms up. Big breath in to reach those arms up and to gather up everything we need for the rest of this beautiful day. Turn the palms out, even bigger breath out. Float the fingertips all the way back down to the ground, letting go of all that other junk we don't need today. And one more breath together, inhaling up. Bring the palms to touch, exhale, hands to heart. Humbly bowing the head to the heart to honor and thank ourselves, our bodies, each other, and anyone else that made it possible for us to practice yoga together today. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Peace, peace, peace. And I thank each one of you for tuning in this morning. Thank you so much for joining me.